Back.
Okay, I think we're back. We had an internet outage, so we are currently running this off my hotspot. Where were we?
We were calculating and deciding and discussing demolitions and sewer projects and I don't remember precisely where we were when it cut
The
out.
last thing we were talking about was a sewer connecting down to.
Yeah, I was looking at the project costs and the grant matches for all of these and trying to figure. And I guess I think we mentioned the School Street storm sewer. So I'm familiar with that project. There is a storm sewer issue at the end of School Street, right before the hillside. That storm sewer. It goes underneath the sidewalk that connects School Street and South Avenue. And that sidewalk, the fence is falling over. There's some erosion issues due to the storm sewer having a crack in it or somewhere. And so eventually that storm sewer needs to get repaired in order to mitigate the damages down the hillside. But the stairs are closed currently because of the damage to the fence and the erosion. So this is a project that, because the storm sewer runs underneath the sidewalk in the middle of the steps, it's basically a set of steps, sidewalk, and then another set of steps. Storm sewer runs under it. So this would repair both essentially. Personally, I don't think it's as urgent or critical as the Center Avenue one due to the amount of traffic, but those are that's what I know and think about the various projects. So the parks one I think is various parks upgrades at Riverbank.
Well,
So
my personal take on this, just on a first go around, is that I'd love to see the Riverbank Park upgrades, and I'd love to see the sidewalk upgrades. But I think the demolitions and the storm sewers are higher priority because they involve, I don't know, higher grade public safety. But at the same time, the storm sewers are the 35%. Although the School Street, it's only 14,000 approximately that we'd have to put in to get that done. It'd be a 27,000 for Center Avenue and zero for doing the demolitions. Oh God, I don't know.
anyone else have?
I would agree with that thought, but the Riverbank Park upgrades goes beyond aesthetics to include necessary mandated ADA accessibility requirements, which are also a safety issue.
How much, do you know how much of that is the ADA portion?
A significant chunk, but not entirely. I don't recall offhand. But Dave, to your point, I do agree that the Center Avenue storm sewer definitely has higher traffic and affects more people.
Yeah, I would agree with that one as well. I think I've heard from 4 people so far. Like, that's top 3 to me. With Center,
Yeah,
yeah, but in my opinion, I think I would have heard from a number of people tonight. That would be on the top 3 for myself as well.
Center.
Yep.
And then, okay. And what would be your other 2? No,
One of mine would definitely be demolitions.
Yes.
Recently, it was brought to my attention by a resident that we're having an issue with a lot of people inhabiting some of the vacant houses in Verona. I'm not sure if anyone's heard anything about this.
Somebody asked me, I wasn't sure. So which homes?
I don't know any more details. I was hoping maybe Mary, you could circle in.
We haven't had no problems. We haven't had no
What
reports.
streets were mentioned?
204 West Railroad.
Well, other than that one,
Yeah.
yeah, but we haven't had no other complaints.
Really.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just we're not aware
Or
of.
maybe it's, maybe
nobody's
it's
reporting
it's
it.
not report, it's like called but not reported, or like just a discussion ensued, so it's not in the record or something.
Apparently, if it was called, there's nobody there living there, if they go and check it out.
Okay.
The School Street one, as far as the sewer, but you know, if it's starting to erode, we got two businesses right below that.
Yeah, I think the advantage with that one, like the event one said, there's, you correct two things with the one project, so I'd see an advantage to that. So
Right.
I would put that in my top three from what I've heard. And just to be clear, like, these can all be done, these would be all great. We have, we can argue any of these as a priority, but those two, I would say as well.
The two sewer ones? Is that what you're
Um,
saying, Joey?
Well, the steps, the Center Avenue, and then the storm sewer CCTV, was that mentioned yet this evening?
That's already, it's either year 46 or 47, and that's already approved, funded, allocated for 2022 capital.
I mean, with the weather that we've been having, you know, I think School Street should be a priority, especially like I said, with that, if that hill's starting to erode, we could, another year, you know, if we wait, we could even be in bigger trouble.
I can see going with the Center Avenue, the School Street, and the demolitions,
Right.
them three.
Does that money put us close to where we have for budget?
We don't know. We're not looking at 2022 for any of these. We're looking at 23.
If we put in for Center Ave and School Street, those are both sewer projects, and then those two projects will be competing with each other. So you would need to decide, like, you know, is there one that's a greater priority so that we're not competing against ourselves?
Oh, okay, that's right.
That's what you
Yeah.
were saying. Okay.
So I would say, just like we've discussed earlier, like Center would probably be the one that touches the most for the traffic and use.
Yeah, I mean, I would say center. I mean, I kind of come back to Matt's recommendation, Center Ave, storm sewer extension, the Riverbank Parks improvements and the demos. We don't have anything competing against each other. What I understand from Matt is that we probably wouldn't get all three. That would
But
you,
that's what he said to me
Yeah.
as well.
we'd probably get one or two. I mean, regardless of how many we put in. So, I mean, personally, I think the Center Avenue would be first, followed by the demos, followed by Riverbank. Again, it's just, you know, we're having to make this decision here. If we do decide to do any of these and we get them, then that is allocating money to a future year's capital budget that we haven't looked at holistically. That's what I want to just make sure everyone understands that, because that's kind of the dilemma we've been faced with, because we haven't had a policy on developing, you know, a decision or a policy for capital projects. So.
I know this might be hard for you to find, but I just would like to be a little more clear on the
The cost.
figures. Yeah,
So that's what I was running the numbers earlier
Yeah,
when everyone
I
was
know.
was
And
talking
then
about. So
I think I didn't write them out right.
the borough match, correct me if I'm wrong here, Center Avenue, yeah, roughly 28,000. So Riverbank Park is 11,132.
Wait, 11,132,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
And demos. Nothing,
The demos is 0.
okay.
Crosswalk is 4,668,
How much, 6,000?
4,668, and the School Street is $14,088. So,
But we don't want to do competing ones, so that's.
I mean,
all.
if that's, yeah, if everyone agrees that we don't want to do competing ones, then that leaves us with no more than 3. Because there's 3 categories at play. And we don't have to do all 3. You know, we could just
To do
to,
all three, we might not get.
yeah, we might not get all
Right.
three.
So if we did all three, if we're just looking at the amount of money, with the matches, it's 28 and 11 is 30, it's about 40,000 total if we got the first two.
Yeah,
But if we didn't get one of these two, then we'd only be out $11,000 in 2023. If we did Riverbank, if we don't get Center Street.
I say we go with the three, center, Riverbank, and the demolitions.
I'd like to pray that we get the demolitions. It's costing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try.
I mean,
Um,
like Joey said, I'd like to get all of them. You know? Who
Well,
here- Yeah.
that's the thing, is that even if we got all the grants, I don't know that you would have the time to administer, between you and Matt, to be able to administer all of them at once with other things like the comprehensive plan. I mean, there's a bunch of projects that have been on the radar, have been mentioned in the past that we haven't even discussed tonight, so. Sure.
I think to that point, I think these projects, administration would largely fall on Matt for these. Like I'm not an engineer. I can't do a stormwater sewer kind of project and know whether or not the contractor's doing the right thing, but Matt would.
Mhm.
But then he's hourly and it's not cheap. So,
Well, My
you know,
question, let me, I know I said this earlier, but is it possible that this grant also covers his services? Does it work that way? No. Never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, it's not in the estimate.
Okay,
I don't think Allegheny County allows it.
okay.
Is that right?
What were you saying, Christine?
Just that Allegheny County does not
No,
allow.
before that, you were,
Just that these,
they largely fall on him, you
they would
said.
largely fall on Matt for administration and, just CDBG compliance. It's federal money, it's highly regulated.
Mhm.
And that's hourly. So, that's the other piece to it is it's not just the approximate $40,000 for the match. It's also paying Matt to apply, paying Matt to administer, paying Matt to follow up whenever the contractor, drops the ball on something. Like there's just a lot of that. And I'm not saying don't go for it or go for it. I'm just saying that, to Dave's point, these grants aren't free.
So,
So, I mean, has everyone weighed in? Does anyone else have a comment or thoughts or?
Nancy, in one iteration, were you thinking to maybe prioritize by cost? Is that something you were saying?
I don't even know how to do that because, if we do all three and then we don't get one or two, then it might not matter. It's hard to do that.
You got to look at the safety factor of it too.
That's
We've been
true.
lucky for the last, how many years on Center Avenue,
Yeah,
that there hasn't been an accident or nothing major happened, or these demolition houses, we haven't had transients living in them and, burning them down or whatever, doing crazy stuff in them.
I think we need to go with Matt's recommendation and that we will hopefully have the time between now and when we do the 23 budget that we'll figure it out. That, that,
Do we need to make a motion on that?
oh, I believe so.
Yeah, to pass these resolutions,
think we-
whichever resolutions.
Can we
if
make
any.
them all three resolutions
I
in one?
don't, I think they need to be separate. A motion per resolution. I could be wrong. It's on here.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
Have 'em here.
individuals, so we probably should be individually
Yeah.
done.
All right, so I'll take a motion to accept the resolution for the Center Avenue Storm Sewer Extension.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sedgwick, second by Sylvia Provenza. Any other comments or questions? And, okay, any other comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'll take a motion to accept the resolution for the Riverbank Park upgrades.
I'll make that motion to accept the resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Lualbo,
Second.
second by Trish Redzak Showalter. Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'll take a motion to accept the resolution on the Verona Borough demolitions.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Mrs. Provenza,
Second.
second by Mr. Warren. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. We made a decision.
Yeah, and I apologize for not having some of the information ready to go. I know Matt, and again, not totally Matt's fault. I know this came up in past meetings and we just haven't really discussed it. And
Right.
this needed to be decided for November 3rd.
Good
So,
use of a workshop meeting.
One more resolution to be passed, since the demolition one was passed. The county requires that communities applying for demolition funds also include attachment E, which is the last page in your packet. And that one basically just says that there's a slum and blight resolution here in the borough, and you can read it. Hopefully you had a chance to read it. And including applicable conditions for demolition, which it's all right there, but we would also need to pass that to apply for the demo funds.
Let's just take a second here for anybody who hasn't read this.
Sure.
So I notice on the second page, everything has an X in front of it except the last one. And I'm assuming that Matt prepared these,
Matt prepared these.
so we don't have really any idea why he left that one off.
I don't know, because he didn't tell me that, but we're saying that,
Oh,
of the one that's second from the bottom, says it's unoccupied and has been tax delinquent for a period of more than 2 years.
okay,
So he would only be able to check one or the other, 'cause it's either
Yeah.
delinquent or not.
got it.
So that's
Good.
the qualifier, the first
Yep,
one.
that's good.
I make a motion to pass it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Warren to accept the
The demolition of
demolition.
slums and blight. resolution.
Yeah, attachment E, second by Mr. Suchovich. Any other questions on attachment E? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion pass. All right. Anything else, Mr. Matlin?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Great.
Dave, may I ask a question briefly about the budget? You said Christine was updating a document. Is that document available yet to outside finance, or is it still just for your committee?
It's still within the committee. I mean, it's still basically within, Christine's kind of doing the day-to-day input of expenses and revenues. So we're hoping to have another committee meeting to discuss it before presenting it to council and the public. That's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on. Trish Redzak Showalter.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a brief informational update. The ordinance committee met last on Monday, October 18th. We're still working through some of the comments related to the fee resolution, the first comprehensive fee resolution for Verona. So we have scheduled an additional meeting next week on the 3rd to hopefully wrap that up to present at the next business meeting. So that's all I have for tonight.
What time on the 3rd?
I suggest 4:30 to
Okay,
give Christine a little bit of a buffer window between the conference.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Suchovich.
The only thing I have is with Halloween being Sunday, I know the police will be out, and the fire department will be out in their vehicles, just patrolling around too. Hopefully the weather doesn't rain. It's supposed to be decent, I think.
I think it's supposed to be okay, yeah. Mhm. Okay, thank you. Mrs. O'Albo.
Thank you. In front of everybody, there's the parks permit use application. It's still being worked on, but they didn't have an idea on how it's being broken down when somebody wants to request one of the parks. What they may need when they use a park, electricity, water, and et cetera. If they like railroad park, if they want the field park, pavilion, gazebo, they would apply for each, whatever they would need to use on the day of their rental. Fees are still being determined, but this is just the basic application that, breakdown of all the parks and all the amenities at each park. Any questions on that? But just to give you an idea on what we're working on. Also, Friday, for the I'm drawing a blank. Movies in the park. If it rains, and it looks like it's supposed to rain, so rain is going to be canceled. It will not be rescheduled. But the Boy Scouts will still be collecting. They will have a box. They'll be right in the Borough building here collecting canned goods. So anybody can come by and drop off for the food bank any canned goods. Distribute, but rain, and it looks like it's going to rain. I didn't want to say it's going to be canceled, but most likely it will be. If maybe we can put a text alert out, if that day, if it is going to be canceled. And also remind everybody that we are doing the Boy Scouts will be collecting canned goods. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, so who's gonna make that decision and by what time are they gonna make the decision?
The camera guys.
Well, it should probably be made before Christine goes home. So if it is canceled, she could send another alert out, another text alert out that the movie in the park is canceled.
So it's say by 4 p.m.
Yeah.
We close the streets off at 6.
Mine like 6 o'clock, so it's gonna start 7. And I don't know.
Yeah, you really can't go.
It's hard to say.
It's too early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vince, sure.
What time is Christine going?
It ranges by 5, but in a dream world, I'd be leaving at like 4:30. So, you can let me know by 4, then I can get a text out, and I can also just put something up on the webpage, on the front page to say
I'll let you know.
it's canceled. Perfect. You're gonna let me know either way, or just if it's canceled. So if I don't hear from you, am I assuming it's
I'll
good
let
to
you
go?
know.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll send you emails.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. And Mrs. Provenza.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. Newsletter, we're accepting ads and the articles for the January, February, and March newsletter edition. And this is your winter edition. They will be due on Wednesday, December 1st. Chamber of Commerce, we did have a meeting, just a quick meeting on
The 19th.
October 19th. And after that, then we filled the bags, the candy bags for the kids. We'll be giving each child a Halloween bag of candy. And that'll be at the parade, which we've already discussed at 11 a.m. on Saturday. And we will have trick or treat. I had many calls. People were very unsure. They didn't know whether we'd have it or not, but that's a definite 6 to 8 on Sunday, October 31st. Historical Society, you folks missed a great meeting. We had a meeting here last Thursday. We had Mr. Rogers from Oakmont did a stellar performance, talked about the meeting of the Willows nightclub. I never knew such a thing existed. He had many, many pictures. I really encourage people to come to these meetings. They are wonderful. and you learn some things you never knew really happened here in Verona. And our next meeting is going to be on Thursday, November the 18th at 7 o'clock here in the Borough Building. And our speaker is going to be Michael Francione. And he's been here before, and he's a very, very good speaker. And he's done an extended study on antique maps. And that's going to be really, really interesting. And I want to put out a special thank you to Rhoda, who puts all this together for us. Thank you so much, Rhoda. You do a great job. We appreciate you. Twin Borough Ministries. Tomorrow evening is the community dinner. And I would add, if you know of any family that is in need of a nice warm dinner, or even a person by themselves that needs a dinner, please tell them about these meetings. The food is very well prepared. These are great meals. And this tomorrow evening, this dinner will be hosted by Joy Barnes and friends from Oakmont. And this is your last week to get the dumplings. They're on sale, and this will conclude after this week. They are $5 each. And we still have that good homemade soup. And the soups this time are going to be wedding soup, navy bean soup, and hamburger vegetable soup. And the prices of the soups are going to be $4 for a pint and $7 for a quart. And I did call Alon. They really had nothing to report at this time. They just sent best regards to Verona. If you have any questions or comments, I'll be glad to take them. And if not, this concludes my reports. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Matlin, anything on pause? I think the meeting
No,
tomorrow night.
meeting's tomorrow night, so
Okay.
I don't have any updates.
Okay, so did we jump the gun?
We did jump the gun.
Oops. Oh, well, that part's done, right? So, there's nothing more we have to do here, right?
So,
Not
yeah,
under action.
sorry about that.
No, it's probably, well, anyway, it's fine. At this time, council will hear comments from the public. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Rhoda Wharf, go ahead.
Rhoda Wharf, 636 3rd Street. What I wanted to bring up is you were talking about the regulated rental.
Mhm.
My husband and I painfully, years ago, organized the regulated rental. The files were organized in the office, and we had format letters, deadlines that were established. Again, I don't know if they're still organized. I'm not sure. I haven't been in the office to check anything. But at that time, when we were organizing it, used to be able to get a disc from the county. And at one time, all the counties were involved. Now, from what I remember, there was only Verona and Oakmont, but what we had to do is sort them. Donald would sort them and do a spreadsheet. And it not only told the rental property, the owner, their information. I mean, everything was spilled out and it was perfect. And I'm hoping that it's still organized there, because if you're going to have somebody start from scratch, I don't know what that would even cost. We were free. We did all this organization on our own. But at that time, we were generating $18,000. When Marcia had taken it over, I think it was up to $25,000. It was extra money that, you know, we were able to use for other projects. So it's something to look into before we pay BIU to go through, you know, from scratch.
We wouldn't be paying
Yeah.
BIU to do that. We'd be looking at yours truly to do
Okay.
that.
But it should
And
be,
then
yeah,
it would be-
really.
And then the BIU piece, Rhoda, is working with them, because they work with other communities that have these kinds of
Sure,
programs,
sure.
and the rental inspection program.
Right,
And just really establishing some kind of policy that's set in best practice.
right.
That's easy to basically keep track, so things don't slip through the cracks, and it's,
Right.
you know, and the rentals get inspected on a regular basis, just to, you know, preserve the quality of housing in the borough.
I think we already established an ordinance with that. That when Mark was here, I didn't think it was, I think he put every 5 years, which I think was too long, should have been a shorter period of time. because you have some tenants that are like lifers in some apartments. I think that could be tweaked, but it should be in our 380, into the Eco 360, 380, Eco 360. And I'm pretty sure there was something written up with that. A time period. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rhoda. What else do we have? Any other public comment? Donald, come on up.
Don Wharf, 636 Third Avenue, Verona. Okay, the Verona 150th Celebration Committee is hosting a time capsule dedication. I'm going to read most of this, so please bear with me. On Light Up Night, November 20th at 3:30 at the Pavilion here in Verona's Railroad Park. The public is encouraged to attend. There are two essential prerequisites, however, before we carry this dedication off. And part one is the filling of the time capsule with pertinent items. The Time Capsule Committee is seeking the help from all the citizens of Verona. It needs items to be placed into the capsule. The public's attention and help in this matter is vital, as there is not much time left. And I'll just give some ideas of some of the items that might be interesting to donate into the capsule. The items should be relevant to our age group. In other words, we don't want really old things that, you know, don't have a lot of meaning to our generation. So they should be relevant to our timeline of people living today. Hopefully, but it's not absolutely necessary. Items should relate in some way to a historical era of Verona, to Verona's historical past. It's not an absolute necessity, though. Items should be as small as possible so that we can fit them into the capsule. Items that could be maybe considered to be included could be things like coins and paper currency. These things may not be around 50 years from now. Old communication devices such as cell phones or small rotary phones. Maybe a pictorial collection of clothing styles over the past 50 years might be interesting. Small tablet computers, an old tablet computer that's not being used anymore, or some other old but small electronic devices that won't be around in 50 years. Incandescent light bulbs, 8-track tapes, cassettes, floppy disks, flash drives, VHSs, CDs, DVDs, things like that, that will fit nicely into the time capsule. Maybe a recorded variety of popular music placed onto a flash drive. Newspaper articles, newspaper clippings of major events of the 21st and 20th centuries. Advertisements. Now, that's another thing. I don't know how the advertisements will be in 50 years. Maybe they won't be around. So maybe newspaper advertisements, a few of those, or maybe some of the mailed advertisements would be fine. Pictures from Verona. A lot of pictures, a lot of people take pictures, put some pictures in there. You might include pictures of our parks, our business district, maybe even some of our residential areas. Hey, family pictures. I don't think you have to worry too much in 50 years, but that would be something that they could look back at. As President of Council Carpenter pointed out, it'd be fun for a 5-year-old to see their pictures 50 years down the road. That would be kind of cool. So I think it's important to bring families and get families involved. Things like pictorial evolution of automobiles. That would be kind of interesting.
Don, you need to wrap it up. I think it's been
Well,
longer than
wake up,
3
people.
minutes.
This is important. I'm sorry. Handwritten or typed letters. Letters can be written and revolved around your wish. Did I have 5 minutes, right?
3.
All right. Part 2 of the requirements. It's important that these items be taken to the Verona Borough if you have anything to give to the borough. Give it to our Secretary, Christine DeKirk, and no later than Saturday, November 13th. Part 2, becoming an official time traveler. emissions to the future. On Saturday, November 6th and Sunday, November 7th, the Time Capsule Committee is planning a special opportunity for those who would rather become virtual time travelers to the future. Individuals, friends, families, young and old alike are encouraged to leave a short videotaped message to the future generations, 50 years from now. This represents the most direct and personal way to meet and contact people of the future. Imagine how you'd feel if you were a person in the future viewing something like this. Again, we anticipate the participation of all levels of Verona citizenry, including the entire Verona Council seated before me, as well as the Verona Chamber of Commerce, members of the Verona Community Group, Verona Historical Society, members, and the Verona Flower and Garden Club, and any other clubs that I did not mention. In addition, the public at large is encouraged to stop by and say hello to the people of the future. Families are especially encouraged to participate in this fun and educational event. I hope you understand the key ideas behind these two projects. Your imagination and ingenuities are the keys to the success of this project, and your committed participation is necessary and required. It is open to all levels of participants, school-age children, working adults, retired seniors, and families. In short, everyone. Let's show our Verona pride and carry out this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donald.
Thanks, Donald.
Thank you.
Nancy, excuse me,
Yeah.
just one sentence. Good presentation, Dawn. Thank you very much. Well given. Dawn and I are on the committee together for the time capsule, and what we've been doing, and I'm just going to be real quick, we have been going to all the businesses, getting everyone's business card and any kind of memorabilia they would like to give us. And we're just about done. We have a little more to do, but that's what we've already started doing. So if any of you here have anything you want to contribute, see either Dawn or me. We'll be glad to take it. Thank you very much. Thanks again, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other people who want to share public comments? No hands raised?
I don't see any hands on Zoom.
All right, then at this time I'll take what do I take? A motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Thanks,
I'll
Sylvia.
second.
First by Mrs. Provenza, second by Mr. Matlin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Never.